Hello, Redland. This week we're doing our series on spiritual truths we've learned from our fathers. And so today I'm going to be talking about my dad. Now, my dad was a mathematician and he taught me lots of very practical things for life, for math, for physics, for biochemistry, for all those good things. But he also taught me some things that were very practical for current life. One, not so much, but I'm going to give you 10 quick things. And so this is a picture of me and my dad at a Texas A&M football game in 2002. And so we had a really great day. It was a great memory. We had gotten tickets from an alumni friend of mine at church. So the first thing he taught me was how to cross a barbed wire fence. We grew up in the country. We lived on about 14 acres, and next to our property where there were about 200 acres where we had hunting privileges on. And so there were barbed wire on both pieces of property, and so we had to learn to cross them. And it was kind of scary for a child to learn how to do that because there wasn't always a gate close by. But he taught us how to do it. You can do it just by yourself, one person, but it's easier with two people, one holding and going through for the other person. And so here's a picture of a barbed wire fence in case you don't know what that is, because we don't have them a lot here in Rockville, but we have them a lot in Texas. And it reminds me of Ecclesiastes chapter 4, beginning in verse 9. Two are better than one, because they have good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls down and has no one to help them up. Though they may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. And most barbed wire is made of three strands of wire, and the third strand is the sharp part. The second thing that my father taught me, that I can still remember my dad saying anytime I'm out after dark, is because of the rattlesnakes in the area where we grew up, lurking in the dark, don't walk in the shadows. John 8:12 says something similar. When Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. The third thing my dad taught me was how to put in a water line to connect our house to city water. We had well water that didn't taste very good, and so at some point we decided to connect up to the city water when it got close enough, about a mile away. And he also taught me how to use a lot of different tools, which has become very helpful on lots of mission trips. The fourth thing my dad taught me was how to drive, but that meant I had to learn how to drive a stick shift, because he didn't believe you really knew how to drive unless you knew how to do that. But he also taught me how to check the oil in my car and the water in my car, and how to check the oil pressure and all of those things, and the air pressure of the tires, and actually change a tire. Pretty helpful. He made sure his daughters and his sons knew how to do that. Fifth thing, my dad taught me how to respect my mother. I could get in a lot of trouble if he heard or saw me being disrespectful to my mom. I'm sitting in front of the panels that he went out of his way to buy once he and my mom put an offer in on the house we grew up in. He had found the house while shopping at an estate sale, and the panels had been sold that fit in the living room to an antique dealer. My dad knew how to give great gifts. Number 6, my dad shared the love of all things Spurs basketball. He would talk about the game all the time. He had lots of Spurs memorabilia around his house. He loved Spurs basketball. Number 7, my dad was a mathematician by trade, so he taught me the Pythagorean theorem at a very early age. You know, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. He was a mathematician, and he taught me to love learning. Number 8, my dad taught me how to ride a bike, and that it was easier to learn going downhill than uphill, but that you knew you really had learned how to do something when you could do it uphill. Number 9, my dad taught me the value of $1. I needed a new softball glove because I had started playing first base on my softball team, and the little glove that I had inherited from a cousin or an uncle wasn't cutting it. In our town, we didn't have a sporting goods store. You bought sporting goods at the local hardware store. I still remember him promising him that $16 was a good investment in a softball glove in the aisle of the True Value store. He reminded me that I would not be getting another one next season. I promised him it would be the last glove that I would need, which is a pretty big promise for a 9-year-old. But I kept my promise, and he often asked if I was still using it when I would call to report on the games in our church softball league games later. Finally, number 10, my dad taught me that he would always love me, no matter what I might do. He told me that and showed me that it was true by his actions over and over again. Because of his steadfast love, I know that my Heavenly Father unconditionally loves me also. 1 John 3 we read, "See what great love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God." So parents and dads especially, love your children. Make sure they know that you love them in lots of ways. Say it, show them by your actions, and that will go so far in helping them know that their Heavenly Father loves them even more and lavishes that love on them. So catch up with our staff next week as we look in our daily devotions that are going to twice a week. Have a great weekend. See you soon.